Hello everyone, it's Becca from BEKAHBOOKSANDBUJO, and in today's video we are doing some reading journal catch-up. So I feel like I just filmed a video like this 2 months ago, but I've gotten behind in my reading journal again. So I'm holding myself accountable by showing you how I catch up in my reading journal. And then I can hopefully keep up with updating my reading journal every single day. We'll see, or at least every single time I finish a book, but we are behind. So I need to finish up May and start June. I've done a little bit of work of starting the June pages, but I'll just show you what we're working with for now. So I think before we come to the front pages, I'm actually going to flip ahead to May because we need to close out May. Here we go. I have to finish adding a 40-year kiss. I remember starting adding a 40-year kiss into my reading journal, but then I got sidetracked and didn't finish adding it in the May section. I did put it in these front pages with like all the stats and everything. Like I know it was the last book I put on my genre tracker and so on and so forth. So I need to just finish up this and then I think write the synopsis or my thoughts of A 40-Year Kiss to finish off all of the books. So A 40-Year Kiss was written by Nicholas Butler. Oh, and I'm gonna have to pull up my Google Sheets tracker to see how many pages it was. 322, and I listened to it, so I put the audiobook time, which was 8:46. It took me 4 days to read this book. I like to count the days or see the days and track them to see if I binged a book in one day or if it took me 2 weeks to finish a book. It's just fun stats. And then I gave this book a 3, and I discovered this from my friend Marnie. This author is from Eau Claire, which is where most of my friends in my college friend book club live. So that's how we heard of this book. Here's my Escape the Readathon spread. I hid this the last time I did a Bujo briefing, but now you can see the path that the astronomers took if you want to, and my team got 3rd place in escaping. So we technically didn't escape the spaceship, but that's all right. Here are my reviews for May, and I need to go grab my books from the printer, or at least the covers of the books, because I did print those off. So 1 second. Literally 1 second for you, but a little bit longer for me. So I just print these off on a Google Doc and cut them out and stick them into my journal with some tape runner. So this was Raising Securely Attached Kids. I had already added this to my journal, but I just hadn't printed off the cover yet. So we will just do that together. This was one of my 3 nonfictions that I read in May. I was kind of surprised I read so many, but I was enjoying listening to nonfictions. They're just easy to glean some information on audiobook, but then also like if some of the things aren't super pertinent to me, I don't have to pay super close attention. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm gonna stick this one in here. There we go. And I think we have a few other covers to add in. Yep. So I had written them in with pencil. I'm going to quickly speed you through adding these covers in, and then we'll jump ahead to the stats page together.
Ruby, she was made for going west, did not protest my wandering ways. Ruby, she was pretty as they come, 28 years young and unafraid. She gave me shelter on the coldest nights, shaded me on summer days, and I had never known my place before, but that's what Ruby soon became.
so I just wrote this review and I realized I should have said before I flipped through all my reviews, I hope you didn't read anything because a lot of them are spoilery and my specific thoughts on stuff. So keep that in mind. Don't read this if you don't want to be spoiled about this book or any of the previous books. So we finished this up, and now the last thing we need to do is the stats page. So I often just look at my previous stats page in order to remember all the things I keep track of. I probably could do it from memory if I tried hard enough, but we're just going to do it this way. So I have a little section for core stats, and to me that is like the books read, the pages read, the hours listened, average rating, DNFs, diverse reads, and LGBTQ plus reads. So let's just fill that in quickly. If you are wanting to hear my more in-depth thoughts on these books, I have my May reading wrap-up, which I will link up above. And you can hear more specifically what I thought of each of these books. But that's not what we're doing here today. We are just catching up. Okay, so I read 13 books, and I've got my pages over here on my spreadsheet. 4,393 hours listened was 107 and 10 minutes. That seems like a lot, but I usually listen at 2 times the speed or faster, so I wasn't actually listening for 107 hours. And my average rating was a 3.92. I did DNF one book officially, and then I started 2 more that I got like 2% into and realized they weren't going to be for me, so I don't count those in the official DNFs, but I did DNF Detransition Baby. I didn't read any books by BIPOC authors. That's usually what I have for diverse. And then LGBTQ plus representation in my books. 5 of the 13 had that. So then in this bottom section, I update my reading goals for the year and see how I'm doing with all of those. It's nice to see what I need to work more on in the upcoming months. So, all right, my first goal, I got to, what was it, 87 books read. Yep. 87 out of my goal of 120. That is 72.5% of my goal complete. That's awesome. I read 3 nonfiction. My second goal is to read, I think, 10 nonfiction this year. Yep, so with the 3 that I had read before, I'm now at 6 out of 10, which is 60% of my goal. I need to check on this. My Les Mis book is upstairs. It's a goal of mine to finish Les Mis, and I'm doing that by reading a chapter a day. So I often, or at the end of each month, I'll see what page I'm at. And I can't remember exactly where I was at the end of May because now it's already June, what is it, June 12th or June 13th. So I will put in a number here once I know more. My TBR, it was a goal to get my TBR down to 150 this year. I was at 183 at the end of April, and now at the end of May, let's check. I have a page up here, 177. So that's a -6. That's wonderful. Making such good progress there. Oh, my goal was to get my series number down to 15 in progress, and I did that this month. Series at 13 in progress, but we're gonna see how we're standing at the end of the year because I might start more series. I did technically read 1 Kindle book. It was a DNF, but I'm gonna say read 1 Kindle. So I'm now at 2 out of 10, which is 20% of my goal. And I didn't reread any books. It's a goal of mine. Oops, no rereads. It's a goal of mine to reread 5 books this year, so I'm still at 2 out of 5, which was 40%. All right, lastly, oh, I should put the numbers over here. These numbers correspond to my very first page in my journal, which is my goals. I have 7 reading goals for the year. Okay, you might hear a baby crying in the background. Don't worry, she is with her dad and she just woke up from a nap, and I'm sure she is missing me, but also wants a bottle. So actually that was a very short nap for her. Darn. That's okay. All right, next I am cutting out my pie charts. I like to look at these visually and see how my reading was that month. I have the format of the book, so this was how I read the book. This small pie chart, or this small pie chunk was physical books, the rest were audio. We have a full-on circle for the audience of the book because all of the books I read in May were for adult readers. So no YA or middle grade in May. It'll be funny to just color in a whole circle. This next one is for star ratings, and on this pie chart, I just break them down by 5, 4, 3, and 2. I don't do half ratings. So all my 4 and 4.5 stars are in one pie slice. And I think the smallest pie slice was 5 stars. I only gave 2. The largest is the 4-star. And then we got 3 stars here. I didn't give any 2-star books. And then this last one, ooh, how does this one go? Like this, maybe? This one is for genres. I always read a wide variety of genres, and I like to see that represented in a pie chart. So I'm gonna maybe speed you through this portion too, because I will just be coloring, and you don't necessarily need to see me do that for a long period of time or hear me babble on about things. So let's quickly get this colored and I'll be back like that. Ta-da! There is the stats page all finished up. The only thing I need to do is add the percentages in the pie graph. So if you can see here, I do the percentages, but this marker is still a little damp. So we'll leave that for later, Becca, to deal with. Flipping over to June. Like I said, I set up June and maybe started filling some things in, but I haven't done any reviews or adding any of the books to my yearly spreads at the front of the journal. So let's just see here. I have finished 1 book, or at least that was my first book of the month, Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. I read that book from May until the 8th of June, and that was the first book I finished. 8 days into the month, I kind of have hit a little bit of a slump at the beginning of June, but that's likely due to the fact that 2 of the books I was reading at the beginning of June were 500 pages plus. Both of them were. So the Things We Hide from the Light was my audiobook. And then my physical read, which I'm still reading, is the 3rd in the Kindred's Curse saga. This is Heat of the Everflame, and this one's like, yeah, more than 750 pages. So I'm still reading that one, and as you can see, we're on the 14th today, and still reading it. So one book I forgot to put in here was Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. That was the 2nd book I read. Carly Fortune. I don't think I have pages or time listened, so let me go grab that book so we can fill this out together. Alrighty, here are the 2 books that we are adding to the reading journal today. Things We Hide from the Light was how many? 574 pages. And I did listen to it, but I don't know the exact time, and I have to check on Audible for that, which is on my phone, and that's what I'm filming on. So we'll just leave that blank for now. Every Summer After, my waterlogged copy, was 304 pages. And again, I listened to that one on Everand, so I'll need to check the time later. Every Summer After, how many days did that take? I'm gonna just check my bullet journal here. Didn't update it at all. I want to say it took me 3 days. It was short. I was really, really enjoying it. I gave it 4.5 stars, and I first discovered this from hearing about the author being talked about, I guess. So we can just quickly say that I have read Every Summer After. That was in my deck of TBR game for the month. Okay, let's jump back before we get too far ahead. So in the yearly pages, oh, and you know what? I forgot to write here. This was for a 40-year kiss. Okay, so this is the book shelfie. I'm just making sure you can see it all right. Here, I will put spines of the book, or of these 2 books, except where is my pen that I do that with? Here it is. And let's make sure we put things we had from the light as super thick because it's almost 600 pages. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. For some reason, I always make my books like 8 spaces tall. That just seems to be the right ratio. And then Every Summer After, make that one a little skinnier. I color code these by rating. So Things We Hide from the Light, I gave 3.5 stars, which all 3-star books are this light gray Tombow. And then I gave Every Summer After 4.5 stars, which, ooh, is this the right color? Yes. This is periwinkle color. We'll be back later to write in the titles, or I'll do it way later because I'll forget. All right, both of these books were on audio, so every tick mark under each category stands for a book. So both of these were on audio. Both of them are by female authors. We had to extend the female line up to here. I gave a 3.5 and a 4.5. Did these have LGBTQ plus representation? I want to say not. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think so. Both of them are romances. I'm obviously in my summer romance kick. These are both adult books, I would say, and I think both of these came out before 2025. Actually, I'm very certain on that. Oh, here we didn't put those stats. So in May, I finished 13 books. It was 4,393 pages. I'm pretty sure I completed my TBR in May. Yep, just with 1 DNF. So I read 6 out of the 6. I had 2 5-star books and I bought 2 books. So we'll fill these stats in at the end of June. You know, I do have books to put in for June and July and moving ahead for all these book clubs. These are my book club books. My Patreon book club, BEKAHBOOKSANDBUJO. This is my local book club. And then here is my college friends book club. But I'm going to wait and add those in later. I read Things We Hide from the Light, which is in the Knock 'em Out series. Where is that? Here it is. Oh, and look, I already filled it in, so that's too bad. I love filling in this spread because I feel like I don't do it often enough. I don't read enough series, but yeah, I already filled that out, so I only have 1 more book in the Knock 'em Out to read. And then I think technically Every Summer After is like the start of a series because we're following the other brother. Oh, look at that. Mabel made this for me. It says, Mom, Dad, love, love. That's so cute. Okay, that was my bookmark, obviously, in this book. I think we follow the other brother. Sam is in this book, and then Charlie is Sam's brother, and we follow him in a different book. I'm not going to count it as a series because I don't think you necessarily need to read them together. More like a companion thing. This is to track my genres. So I grab my Zig, no, these are not Zig. These are Zebra mild liners. So my 88th and 89th books of 2026 were romances. Ooh, do you think we'll hit 100 books in June? I don't know. At the rate I'm going, probably not. Might be in July, but that's crazy that I'm reading so much this year. Okay, nothing to add here. I'm all caught up on my Les Mis tracker. Neither of these titles start with these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters I have left. Nothing on the self-destruct. Series takedown. Could things we hide from the light? Oh, I'm marking this for chunky series for sure, because these are big, especially for romance. So I'm counting that. And I got my first bingo. I'm hoping to get a blackout here, but this was things we hide from the light. And then I'll just write knock them out here too, because the whole series is chunky. All right, now we jump back to June. I'm gonna have to add every summer after whenever I read it. I don't remember when it happened. And I haven't bought any books yet. Whoa, that's crazy for me. So then all we have to do is the reviews for these books. Normally I would have my readathon that I'm participating in, but I'm not participating in one in June, and I'm kind of gearing up for one happening in July. If you know, you know. But like, for example, in April, I took part in the Follow the Yellow Book Road, or in May, it was, like I showed you early, Escape. So this would normally be my readathon spread, but I don't have that. So we are just going to go ahead and cut out the books and write my reviews. I will speed you up for this process, but then we will come back to close out the video.
Ruby, she wasn't good at going fast, and the patience that I lacked, I learned to grow. 'Cause Ruby had a way of breaking down, leaving me out there on the road. But she gave me shelter on the coldest nights, shaded me on summer days. So as we traveled across the countrywide, Ruby set the pace.
Alrighty, we are caught up for now. I'm really close to finishing another book. It's a thriller. Then She Was Gone, which was my poll pick. It won my poll pick for my deck of TBR games. So I'm feeling good. Thank you for holding me accountable and helping me finish up or catch up with my reading journal. Let me know what you have read so far in June. What has been your favorite? Has there been any standout reads? I would love to hear about that and anything else you would like to comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye.